So I saw this questioning by Ted Cruz towards Antony Blinken that is supposed to be a Jew, but what Jew is called Anthony? Maybe a Jew that doesn't want to be identified as one. I mean, I guess that was his parents' decision. Like, Anthony sounds so not Jewish. What is Anthony? Anyway, that was brutal. I mean, this dude is saying what needs to be said.
Mr. Secretary, you have presided over the worst foreign policy disaster of modern times. When Joe Biden became president,
First thing that Biden did in office is take off the Houthis from the terrorist list. Those are Shia militants. I think they are, Shia is about 30% of Yemen, if I remember correctly. Do I want to check it now? I want to check it when I'm edit. I'll edit and then check. Anyway, obviously they weren't nice towards those Yemenis that do not believe in the kind of values that they have, which are none. But you have to be part of the group. It's like, it's a tribal thing, right? Is it like you're with us or you're not with us kind of situation? And some people have to be not with them because who are they going to play with? You know, who's going to be there?
he inherited peace and prosperity.
Yeah, like those people are the ones that deserve not to be in the terrorist list. Good job, Biden. And I feel like Blinken is the kind of Jew who is like, I'm going to prove the world that I don't have dual loyalty, and I'm going to show the world that I do whatever America tells me to do, even if it means that I'm going to screw my people.
He inherited peace and prosperity of the world. We now have two simultaneous wars waging, the worst war in Europe since World War II and the worst war in the Middle East in 50 years. Both, I believe, were caused by this administration's consistent weakness.
I wonder about the Ukrainian war. Like, would have Putin not go into war if Trump have continued his term? I don't know. I'm not sure about it, to be honest. It's like, it's unclear because like Trump was perceived as such a wild card. It's easier to do it when there is someone that is completely predictable and lacks backbone.
And indeed, your foreign policy is precisely backwards from what a rational American foreign policy should be. To our friends and allies, this administration has consistently undermined, weakened, and attacked them.
Okay, let's be honest. They kind of all did that. Some did it behind the scenes, though. Others did it up front. Most did it. Except for Trump. Trump was straightforward. That's what I want to say. It was just... It is what it is, you know. It's his reality. It's just like... It's not that he sees like someone wearing a burqa and he's like, you know what? I bet she loves it. I bet she loves going to the beach wearing this tent on her. It makes her really have fun. Versus, gee, how can you have fun wearing that? Obviously, she's not having fun.
And to our enemies, this administration has shown constant appeasement and indeed has flowed billions of dollars to the enemies of America who want to kill us. Senator Barrasso asked you about Ibrahim Raisi. Your State Department put out a statement.
Oh, that one is amazing.
Sending condolences for his death. Mr. Secretary, is the world better today now that Raisi is dead?
Given the horrible acts that he engaged in, both as a judge and as president, to the extent he can no longer engage in them, yes, the Iranian people are probably better off.
You didn't say that in your statement, did you?
I believe that we did. And certainly our spokesperson...
Today, the United Nations is flying their flag at half-staff to mourn the death.
Like, I don't get it. Like, they know that what they're doing is effed up. Because it sounds the same, like the way they interviewed the headmasters of the universities, where it's like, do you know there are death chants toward Jews in your university?
At Harvard, Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
This is so pathetic. Like, if you at least be honest, I don't know, be proud.
Would you agree that it is utterly disgraceful for the United Nations to be mourning the death of the butcher of Tehran?
We're certainly not mourning his death. As I said, we expressed.
Would you agree it's disgraceful for the UN to be?
I'll look at what they've done. We certainly would not do that.
What they've done is flown the flag at half-staff. Is that disgraceful?
We wouldn't do that, and we would certainly find that.
And I would note that's the absence of American leadership. All right, let's shift. The Washington Post on May 11th.
See, like, the absence of America. The only person I heard, I think, that said, hey, we have to defund the UN. This organization is just a huge worldwide mafia that is basically Hamas and the Taliban in Afghanistan. Like, they are the worst of the worst wherever they are. Or they do nothing at all and just, like, live their, on the paycheck. Like, people just pay for them and they're like just eating their croissant and drinking their coffee and watching people kill each other, just like it's a show for them. Like, literally, this is how it looks like. This is how they work, the UN workers, the ones that are not participating in being terrorists. This is what they do all day, I swear to you. Like, if you come to the border with Syria, with Lebanon, whatever, and you're going to see them, this is what they do all day.
Wrote an article, I'm going to read the opening paragraph. The Biden administration, working urgently to stave off a full-scale Israeli invasion of Rafah, is offering Israel valuable assistance in an effort to persuade it to hold back, including sensitive intelligence to help the Israeli military pinpoint the location of Hamas leaders and find the group's hidden tunnels.
Okay, he says everything that needs to be said here, so I'm going to go back a little bit for my last point. How hard it is to find someone who would think straight, that would go, like, why is America funding and giving so much money to the UN? That's your money, Americans. Like, why? Like, that's a lot of money that goes to people who do nothing all day. Nothing.
According to 4 people familiar with the U.S. offers. Is that paragraph accurate?
Exactly the opposite. First of all, no one has done more to defend Israel than Joe Biden.
Is that paragraph accurate?
Let me finish, if I may, please. He was there right after.
I'm not interested in a campaign speech. I have a limited time. Is the paragraph in the Washington Post accurate?
As you read it, no. To the contrary, we're providing everything we possibly can to Israel to help them find.
So the 4 sources that briefed the Post, and by the way, briefed multiple other media outlets, they were lying?
Absolutely.
So, all right, so that, did the administration offer to provide the locations of senior Hamas?
That's interesting, because I don't know if I can trust Blinken, since he doesn't know that his office was crying about the death of the butcher from Tehran who single-handedly might have killed something like 30,000 people. Probably they were all innocent.
Hamas leaders to Israel if they didn't invade Rafah?
That's again totally misleading and wrong. Here's what we've said, and here's what we're doing. We have said that there is a better way to deal with the challenge.
I'm not interested in the speech.
You don't want to hear my answer?
It reminds me how Piers Morgan says, like, why don't you know how to do this and that? And he says, like, how he understands everything when it comes to military, because he's somebody that he knows served in the military, so that makes him a military expert. Like, this is a good opportunity. Well, tell us, Blinken, how exactly can they do a better job? It's not an intelligence secret for you, right? This is not your operation. So if Israel disagreed with the way you suggested doing stuff, then that doesn't even matter. You can just tell us what it is, I think. By saying it the way he does, it doesn't even give a hint on at what direction and like what style. Was it like, we believe they should attack using more air force versus ground troops? Like, literally, there is no element of surprise anyway to ruin, because Israel warns the citizens and tells them where to go, so they know exactly who is coming from where and when. So if there ain't any element of surprise, then anyway, because of the civilian population, And then, I mean, you can give a little bit more information so that you won't lose your credibility, Blinken, that you don't have anyway.
Did you offer the location of senior Hamas officials if they didn't invade Rafah? That's a yes or no.
If we had the locations, of course we'd provide them, irrespective.
So this statement, you're saying the Post got it totally wrong and is utterly false.
So, I don't know, maybe some Hamas members are having a tea party in Blinken's house right now.
And anyone who said to the contrary was lying and perjuring themselves if they were under oath.
That statement is incorrect. We have done, will continue to do everything we can to, if we can do it, develop the information and share the information. I wish we had it.
Does the administration have intelligence on the locations of Hamas officials that you have not shared with Israel?
No.
Does the administration have the locations of Hamas terror tunnels that you have not shared with Israel?
No.
Okay, so then your position is that this story is an utter and complete lie.
As you read it to me, Senator, it's not. It is not. It's not accurate.
And we're not interested in playing word games. I've asked you very directly. You're saying there's not a single Hamas leader that you know about that you or the administration has offered will tell you.
I tell you, if we barge into his house uninvited, we're gonna find him having drinking tea with some Hamas leader or something.
Tell you where they are if you don't invade.
That is correct.
What have you offered them not to
I'm
invade
joking
Rafah?
for the idiots.
We've offered them
I'm sure it's not going to be in his actual
a plan to deal more effectively with Rafah.
Okay, so your testimony under oath is you've offered them nothing not to invade Rafah. I find that very hard to believe, but I just want to understand what your testimony is.
I'll be very clear.
Yeah, they offered them to stay alive. I think they offered the leaders that they are going to make sure that they can still go to Europe and Germany and visit other places without getting arrested if they're going to cooperate with them. But I'm pretty sure what they offered is on the, hey, we're not going to nuke you if you don't do that. So, I wouldn't say it was a carrot. I think it was more of a stick.
I'll be very clear. We have told them, we've been engaged in a long conversation with them about the most effective way to deal with the problem we agreed must be dealt with.
They are quite aware you disagree with their plan to kill the Hamas terrorists because you and the president have vocally said it. To be clear, your State Department on the morning of October 7th sent out a tweet telling Israel not to engage in military retaliation. I called you out at 3 a.m. and you deleted that tweet. The next day, you personally on October 8th sent a tweet saying you...
That's why I knew from the get-go, from day one, and I've been arguing with it, that the Biden administration is lying when there's, with all those beautiful, we haven't seen an attack like that on Jews since the Holocaust, and people were so touched by it. And I was like, are you guys idiots? They're lying to you. They're lying to your faces. And now I can go around and say, Nana Banana, see my cynicism and cruelty and Soviet untrusting women. People are naturally not trustworthy, and especially politicians kind of mentality. Got the upper hand. Yeah.
Spoken with the Turkish foreign minister, and Israel should not retaliate. From the very beginning, the Biden administration has consistently at every stage told Israel, and by the way, when I called your tweet out, you deleted it again. At every stage, you have been telling Israel, do not kill the terrorists, and that has been from day one.
Senator, I was in Israel 5 days after October 7th. I've been there 7 times since. No one, starting with President Biden, has done more to make sure they have what they need to defend themselves from Hamas, to deal with the threat that Hamas poses.
Notice the choice of words, defend, meaning here's the basically. So somebody's coming to attack you with a sword. They're going to give you an armor and a shield, but not a sword.
With all due respect, that is simply ludicrous. That is ludicrous. Why have you cut off weapons to Israel then?
We have not cut off weapons to Israel. In fact, as you know,
because they don't want to give swords. They only want to give shields. It's not effective at all. I think this example is kind of proves the point of how incredibly, overtly, basically, I'm saying that they are cooperating with our enemies 100% and America's enemies.
Starting many years ago, President Biden was at the heart of the MOU that led to Israel having a 10-year.
By the way, like the videos of Biden with a young woman that look very disturbing, that I think I shared on Twitter somewhere. This is where I thought, like, maybe, you know what, those people who go to those island parties and have their friends in forms of P. Diddy and stuff like that, like, they have a lot to gain from Islam.
Guaranteed supply of assistance. When
you became Secretary of State, how much oil was Iran selling a day?
I'll have to come back to you on any numbers. I don't have the numbers.
You don't know. It doesn't surprise me you don't know. It was about 300,000. How much oil is Iran selling today?
We've applied sanctions against more than 200 entities that are engaged in petrochemicals.
How much oil?
You can tell me. I'm sure.
Don't filibuster.
I'm not filibustering.
How much oil are they selling today?
You tell me.
Apparently you don't know. So you don't know how much they were selling. It was 300,000. Today they're selling about 2 million barrels a day. Let me ask you.
And given the sanctions, given the export controls, given the other controls we put on, the cost of doing that, the evasion that they have to engage in, which we're trying to cut off.
They've made about $80 billion. Let me ask you another question. I'm running out of time, so I'm not interested in speeches. Let me ask you this. How many Ghost Fleet ships did Iran have in November 2020?
We have sanctioned more than 200
It's a question.
of those.
I'm not. How many did they have?
The total number, I can't tell you what it had in 2021. I'll come back to you with that. But we have.
The number was about 70.
Yeah,
how many did they have today?
We blocked about 50 of them.
Okay, let's see how effective you are. How many do they have today?
As I said, we blocked about 50.
How many do they have today?
You tell me. I'm sure you.
They have about over 400. Look, this administration desperately wants a new Iran deal. You have been showering cash on Iran from day one. And understand, the $6 billion you were asked about is the tip of the iceberg. By refusing to enforce oil sanctions, we have seen Iran's oil sales go from 300,000 barrels a day when you got into office to over 2 million barrels a day today. That's $80 billion. 90% of Hamas's funding comes from Iran in a very real sense. This administration, you and President Biden, funded the October 7th attacks by flowing $100 billion to a homicidal, genocidal regime that funded those attacks.
That statement is profoundly wrong.
Why?
I'm not even going to humor it. I think it's a disgraceful statement.
Why?
We have gone at Iran repeatedly with more than 600 sanctions applied against different persons.
Then why are they selling 2 million barrels a day as compared to 300,000?
They are working hard to do what they can to get around the sanctions.
So just the prior administration had tools you didn't have, they were more effective, or maybe they just weren't desperate to cut a deal with Iran.
And we continue every single day to go at them.
You are refusing to address the facts.
I'm not.
Then why are they selling 2 million barrels a day?
Because they're determined to try to do that. We're determined to cut them off.
They weren't determined when Trump was president?
They were determined, and of course, unfortunately, we also had their nuclear program in a box. No fissile material being produced.
Okay, you're not answering the question. You're filibustering another topic.
You get the last word.
You funded our enemies and you undermine our friends, and the world is much, much more dangerous as a result, and Americans are at greater jeopardy because of it.
In fact, we brought more countries together. We have stronger allies, stronger partnerships, stronger engagement from countries around the world to deal with a very dangerous world than we had. We were alone, we aren't anymore, and America is leading those.
America should have stayed alone. America is the greatest country on earth. And I'm not joking here. Yeah, like America effed up a lot. But the morals the Americans had when they founded America, and slavery, I believe, is like a case where you can see a country that is going against their own morals. Like, I really do believe that in the vision of the way that America was created, slavery was it was not supposed to be possible if you actually like follow through the logic that the founding fathers had used. But just like slavery happened, even though the morals of America were good, wokeism is now happening in America. So I believe that essentially both of those views were damaging America. And now it was better for America to stand alone in the world as something that is setting an example for a real multicultural society that shares values like the multiculturalism. Okay, so people, I think, confuse multiculturalism, and they say that multiculturalism is also a multi-value system. I think there's nothing wrong in theory with multiculturalism where it comes to food, music, clothing, even, I don't know, like piercings. But values have to be the same values across the board, right? No matter what's your culture, and if you wear yellow or you wear a skirt or you wear a dress, doesn't matter. So in that sense, America was something that was extremely unique in the world. It was, I mean, it still is, just it needs to be saved. The Americans worked hard to make America the prosperous country it is. It believes in freedom and democracy and human rights. Yes, it effed up from time to time and strayed away from the morals that it had, right? Just like the Jewish people strayed away and then God came back and prophets came and say, hey guys, what are you doing? You're forgetting the initial morals that made you a nation like you were, like a great nation. But that doesn't mean that you don't need to have friends like a country like America. You cannot have friends unless they're on the same level as you. I believe that Israel is fundamentally the OG American story, but it's a small country. So I do believe that in that sense, there is equal footing. Same with I don't know, the France and the UK and India, like countries that manage to embody this incredible, I don't know, those ideas of freedom in theory, right? They can all go astray in certain things and be better so there is something there but if right now in the world map, United States is potentially the only one that actually goes by the values, the initial values, and doesn't let's say, give up to Islamism, doesn't give up to values that are there to communism, to ruin a society, then it's better to stand alone. And America is a big country that can afford to stand alone and set an example, right? You don't always have to be cool with the kids. Don't be the main bully, right? Be the one that protects. And you know what? And then yeah, you'd be alone because you know what? The country that get bullied, I don't know. Do you want to be friends with them, but they're not cool? So you don't you think, okay, I'm a cool person. I don't want to be friends with Israel, which is not cool. Which is it's a kind of mentality. You're alone. Of course, this is the mindset here. No, I want to go and play along with a country like China and Russia. Who cares that they're evil, but they're the cool kids because they can bully anyone else to do whatever they want.
And America is leading those efforts.
Remember the Abraham Accords?
I do.
Let me just break you two apart for a second.
Yeah, remember I do. I don't. Yeah, I remember. They just threw him to the trash. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you later. I hope you had fun. Also, I have a Buy Me Coffee link down below if you want to support me. That really helps. And share this video. I also heard you can only just click on the share button and it already helps. So that would be amazing. Thank you so much, you all. See ya.